All right, that's enough hugging over there. Hey, I think that's a little too much hugging. You can all grab your seats. Yeah. Well, thank you for letting me engage you in a little personal human interaction with who might be your family, literally next to you, or part of the family that's going to take us out of this crisis and into the future, into a sustainable world. And what's at stake? Well, these images certainly say something in of themselves. One of them is an SOS sent from Antarctica. We sent an expedition of people down to Antarctica, and one of our board members, Sebastian Copeland, took this photograph of people assembled literally in an SOS from a floating iceberg in Antarctica. And as the evidence grows, we know that Antarctica and Greenland represent so much in terms of what happens if they really melt, and we get 7-meter sea level rise at 21 feet that inundates most of our coastal plains. But let's also take a moment and realize what it's going to mean to food production. We already see the crisis between ethanol and growing a corn for and other food stocks for other needs. And here's an image that shows the wheat-growing regions of our nation in North America moving further northward. Good for Canada, perhaps, but not necessarily so good in the long term for humanity. But again, sea level rise and the changes from climate change are not just about food, it's about impacting the cities we live in. 70% of the world's population lives on the coastal plain. So if we begin to look at what sea level rise mean to the cities we live in on the coasts, here in Los Angeles and in New York, these are slides put together by esteemed colleague Ed Masri of Architecture 2030. And this shows, these slides show between 1.5 and 3 meter sea level rise. Yeah, conservative estimates close to 1 meter sea level rise we're going to experience in the next century. With the rapidity and increased melting of Antarctica and Greenland, that is going to get much worse if it continues on the track it is. The next slide is of the Oakland Airport in the city of Boston. I believe that's 2.5 meter sea level rise, not out of the possible projections of the estimates of our scientists. But if we look at the city that's at the front line of our battle against climate change and sea level rise, it's the city of New Orleans. The city of New Orleans is going to be underwater no matter what we do with the levees, no matter what we do with the coastal wetlands. If we get a 1 meter sea level rise, this is what the city of New Orleans will permanently look like. Now, Hurricane Katrina did just about this much damage because of the failure, the levees, increased capacity of that storm, and the storm surge that happened given sea level rise and expansion of the oceans due to global warming. But we're doing a lot of work in New Orleans as an organization you're going to learn more about tonight. And we see it as the place that we need to draw the line in the sand. And so later in July, we're going to announce a campaign with the help of Senator John Edwards, who's done so much the work on climate change and poverty, two issues we really work to tie together through our work on the ground in cities, as well as the work in New Orleans to wake up America to the fact we're going to lose not just New Orleans, we're going to lose all of our cities. And that cities and states across the country need to act. And that it's about poverty and the environment, it's about humanity. For after all, the earth is going to be just fine without us. But we can't live without the earth. And if we look at what really is needed, our international founder, Mikhail Gorbachev, really phrased our mission a long time ago, and that's value shift. And technology alone, ladies and gentlemen, is not going to change the course of our future. It's not going to be what protects humanity from failing as a species on this planet. It's going to be what's in our hearts and our minds and how we react and use the technology and approach the future. How do we build the political will to get the kind of action we need? How do we engage all aspects of society, whether it's people that care about schools or affordable housing and the things that our organization are doing and people like Van Jones are doing? But the leaders here tonight represent that transformation, that value shift that we need to have in each of us and throughout our society around the world. We need tens of thousands of leaders. We need tens of thousands of Al Gores and Paul Hawkins and Van Jones and Lynn Lears and LAUSDs. We need so much And all this is great. We're here to celebrate, but we need to remember that we need people to reclaim their role as citizens and not just be consumers anymore. We need them to stand up in their neighborhood, with their neighbors, with their schools, with whatever institution or opportunity they have to do that. And there's a question that comes up when we begin to look at, will it be crisis of leadership that takes us out of this? Does history shape the leader, or does the leader shape history? Given the time I've been blessed to spend with Mikhail Gorbachev, I would say it's a little bit of both. Mikhail Gorbachev tells a story about how the night before he took over the Politburo, he went on a walk with his wife, Raisa. And they talked seriously about what would happen the next day, and were they courageous enough to take it on and make the changes needed that they knew had to happen with the Soviet Union and to end the Cold War. And it was really, if you look at that relationship, it was the love and the courage it gave them together that set them forth on that journey. If you were blessed to hear them speak about it or spend time with them or even read it about that story in his memoirs. It was his love of his wife, his family, his country, and all people that gave him the courage to make that change. So it's really time to be bold, and tonight is about celebrating those people that are bold. The targets and timeline are clear. We know what needs to be done. The question is, do we really love ourselves? Do we really love our family? Do we really love our community? So whether it's in our homes or schools or neighborhoods or business or nation, it's time for us all to lead, to all be leaders. It really comes down to two basic emotions when we confront these challenges. Do we choose fear or love? And I think the Greeks said that we come into the world with love, and what we learn when we're here is fear. So how do we turn that around and take this opportunity to choose love of ourselves and each other and our family? So ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time to answer the call. It's time for us all to answer the call for our family. Thank you very much, and enjoy the evening.